Hello everyone, my name is Winters and welcome back to another episode of Star Trek Online Do's and Don'ts. In this episode we are going to talk about the do's and don'ts for leveling the R&D system. So to access the R&D system you need to go over to this button here that is flashing for me currently, and I'll tell you why in a minute. It is marked as duty officers, so you open up the duty officer window and then you click on the R&D tab. Now it's flashing for me because I have 5 projects there to collect. That's why it's flashing. But for now, I want you to completely ignore those 5 projects. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click... Well, first of all, we have 8 schools. We have beams, cannons, engineering, ground weapons, kits and modules, projectiles, science, and shields. If we click into the various schools, you can see that there are a number of recipes. There's recipes in the shields category for personal shields, space shields, and then the various components that you can craft in order to make the previously mentioned items. Now, what I want to talk about first is crafting these items. So we're going to pick space shields here. So there's already a covariant shield selected, but you can pick any of the four types of shields that you want. We're going to pick a Mark 12 because it rewards the highest amount, and we're going to click on confirm. So what I want you to take note of is the XP earned for crafting this shield and the duration. If we crafted this, it would give us 3,000 XP. For 5 hours of cooking time. If we were to craft 2 of them, we'd get 6,000 XP for 10 hours of cooking time. The next thing I want to draw your attention to is the costs in here for crafting. Most of these items are pretty easy to craft. All you have to do is just click on the individual items. You can see here we are missing the focusing lens and we are missing the routing lattice, But what I want to draw your attention to is the very rare components over here at the end, and in particular the signal enhancement module. If we click on that, it'll take us to the recipe for it. Now, note that it gives 360 XP and it has a 30-minute cooking time. But the big one is the costs. The crafting materials aren't too bad. Plectin and argonite gas. But 4,000 dilithium for one of these. If we increase the number of these, you can see the costs go up to 5 of them for 20,000 dilithium. Now what I want to draw your attention to is these projects, but because I have shields and projectiles slotted here, if I go to these schools, they're not available. So I'm going to just click on beams, and we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you will find a research project there, research project beam technology. There's also one for cannons, again scroll down, research project cannon technology, and engineering is research project engineering technology, and they all work the same. Basically, the research projects are at the very bottom of the individual schools. And what I want to draw your attention to is the duration and the XP earned. It takes 20 hours and you get 6,000 XP, but the cost is only 1 magnesite, all right, which is a common material. If we look at cannons, it costs 1 trionium gas. If we look at beams, it costs 1 duranium. And if we look at science, just for example, it costs 1 hydrazine gas. Basically, it has a much lower cost for crafting or for conducting the research project. Bear in mind, crafting the item, all right, at Mark 12 takes 5 hours. So to net the same result, you would have to craft 2 of these for a total of 10 hours, and it would have cost you 8,000 dilithium just for that one component times 2. That's not including any of the rest of these or the cooking time for any of those. So the don'ts for this episode, or for leveling R&D schools, is do not attempt to level the R&D schools by crafting components and or items. It takes too much of a time investment. And again, we're going to quickly go back in here. We can see here we have the percentage chances for getting the different rarities, you know, whether it's a common item, an uncommon item, a rare item, or a very rare item. So there is 0 chance of it coming out as a very rare item. There is a 51% chance that it'll come out common. So you're pretty much guaranteed it's going to come out common. Now I want to draw your attention to the value in the bottom right hand corner. So it is valued at 1,866 EC. So even if you were going to a 50% vendor and trading that in, that is only 933 EC you will get for it. Bear in mind, it cost a minimum of 4,000 dilithium to craft that common item. And it took 5 hours to craft it. So the dues for leveling R&D schools is to click on the individual school and conduct the research project for that school 3 times. And if we click on in progress here, we can see we have shields, 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 and then projectiles and projectiles. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to collect these projects, and what will happen is you will see the shields jump up 3 times, and you will see projectiles jump up a little bit because there's 2 schools there. And actually, I just thought of something. If you look here in the top right hand corner, the XP required to get to level 15 is 630,000 XP. Alright? If we look at the XP for some of these items, like these focusing lenses, it only gives 1 XP. Alright? Even if you pick this plasma compressor, 6 XP is how much it costs for those. If we go into some of those very rare items and we click on those, so what did I say? 360 XP for every 30 minutes. The time investment is just not worth it. The best practice is when you log in, the first thing you do is and I'm going to do it now, you're going to collect your 5 projects like I just did there. Go back into the schools, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and set up new ones, like so. And then we go on to a different school because you can only do 3 max per school, and we set up the next 2. And tomorrow when I log in, there will be 5 research projects ready and waiting for me. And look, with those 3 research projects, I jumped up to above level 3 in R&D shields. So the dues for leveling the R&D schools is do only conduct the research projects for leveling purposes. It is by far much simpler, much easier, much less of a time investment, and you can get on to playing the game, doing other things, building up marks, resources, playing story missions, doing duty officer missions, doing admiralty assignments, so on and so forth. The don'ts is do not level up your schools by crafting items or components. The costs are way too high in terms of resources and in terms of time investment. It is just much simpler to do the research projects. So that concludes this episode of Star Trek Online Do's and Don'ts. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave a like. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. And as always, please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. My name is Winters, I'll catch you next time. Until then, take care.